The kind of businesses that we'll look at are like garlic. We want them to be robust, to be resilient, to be timeless, and to be ubiquitous. And just like garlic, our investors and my team always joke that when the deal is being cooked, it has to smell good.
Hello, and welcome to another edition of 5 Questions with from the Business Times. I'm Suhaana, and with me today is Aik Chuan, founder and managing partner of the search fund Garlic Equity Capital. Thank you so much for joining us today, Aik Chuan.
Thank you for having me here.
So first, could you briefly tell us what is a search fund and how does it fall under the category of entrepreneurship-through-acquisition, more commonly known as ETA?
So ETA is a way of entrepreneurship where instead of starting a business 0 to 1, you acquire a living, breathing business and with the aim of growing and operating it for the future. Search fund is the idea that backed by a group of investors, together you identify and acquire the business with the idea that you'll be mentored and helped by the investors as you go through the journey of building this business.
As someone who's at the heart of this growing industry, why do you think entrepreneurship through acquisition is becoming a more popular form of business ownership?
I think there are 2 big trends at play. One of the recent PwC survey showed that 1 in 2 children of business owners actually are not aware of a succession plan in the business. So the idea about succession is still relatively new with a lot of business owners. On the flip side of that, you now today have talented, ambitious operators who traditionally might take up a career in banking, in consulting, but today they are so much more excited about, hey, do I have the chance to own, run a business and directly impact the lives of customers, employees, and suppliers? Now, when you put these 2 together, it is a 1 + 1 greater than 2 situation. And then when you can couple that together with the legacy, with the wisdom of the business owner, you can create a really powerful recipe for success.
Speaking of a recipe for success, you have the title of launching Singapore's first traditional search fund, Garlic Equity Capital, in April 2024, when you raised a search capital of $500,000 from 19 institutional and private investors. Can you tell me, what was your pitch to the investors?
The pitch was simple. One was that in Singapore, we are going through a generational shift, right? 2 was that I shared so much about Singapore, about the strong corporate governance, about the stable currency, and the fact that Singapore's GDP as a developed country, we are still growing at 4% plus. That really set up the pitch. And then 3rd of all, of course, I shared a little bit more about my ambition and my hope to grow businesses in Singapore, and also reflecting upon my own background, where my father and my grandfather were both business owners. We have to date met hundreds and hundreds of business owners, and the stories that I've heard was just amazing. At this point, we are in advanced stages with a few businesses where we are discussing what the future could look like, and also, of course, how the transaction could be put together. The kind of businesses that we'll look at are like garlic. We want them to be robust, to be resilient, to be timeless, and to be ubiquitous. So when you break that down, we are looking for businesses with more than $5 million in revenue. They have strong recurring revenue stream and with a good diversified customer base. And just like garlic, our investors and my team always joke that when the deal is being cooked, it has to smell good.
Well, I hope you find a strong and flavorful SME soon.
Thank you.
So you've met hundreds of different businesses. Are there any special stories you can share with us?
One thing that I love about this job is being able to meet business owners and listen to their stories. One was, it used to be a husband and wife team. And when the husband passed on, the wife felt that she could no longer bring 100% herself to the business, yet she recognized that the employees, the customers, and the suppliers are dependent on the business. And she's now caught in the impossible situation where she desperately is looking for a successor. I have also met 2nd-generation business owners who have said that, hey, I didn't choose this career. When I graduated, the father passed the son the business. And the son is now in a state of mind where he said, hey, I have so much more interest, so much more passion for so many other areas. I want to be able to sell this business to someone which aligns with their family values, could make their father proud, at the same time with the money that's involved, be able to pursue the passion and the careers that they want to choose.
There are also alternatives to the search fund model, such as the self-funded model. So could you tell me what the differences are between the traditional search fund model and the self-funded model?
So you're exactly right. There are two main types of search funds. The self-funded model is where an individual, leveraging on their own funds, go out and identify a business, then sometimes working together with a few investors, acquire and run the business. This model gives you more autonomy and lesser guardrails. On the flip side, you have what we call traditional search fund, where from day one, you have a small group of investors who are backing you, who will lend their expertise and their know-how on how to acquire and run a business. Now, of course, this means that the commercials may not be as flavorful for the searcher, but it brings a lot more discipline, a lot more know-how, a lot more mentorship into the process.
Is that why you went down the traditional search fund route and not self-funded?
Absolutely. I know myself, I'm an operator at heart. I love running and operating businesses, and I get really excited when I see them. But what I needed was that I needed the discipline of professional investors where they were able to look at businesses clear-eyed. At the same time, I think personally, I see SMEs as maybe an underserved area. And I believe that if we are able to do this fund well, there will be so much more international interest in Singaporean SMEs, where globally there are so many more investors who can get excited about the businesses here, and as a result could bring their capabilities and capital to Singaporean SMEs.
I was reading a study by the IESC Business School from 2024. It showed that 1 in 4 international search funds fail to acquire, and of those who succeed, 1 in 4 will eventually end up in the red. So do you think Asia can buck that trend?
Great question. So search fund is still a relatively new concept outside of North America and Europe. In fact, to date, there are only 21 exits across outside of North America and Europe. 15 of those actually produce positive ROI, positive invested capital into the investors, while 6 of them were actually so-called value destroying. However, I think Asia is interesting, right? First and foremost, Asia as a continent is going through a generational shift, where there are a lot of silvering business owners. In fact, in Japan, 2.5 million small, medium enterprises there have a business owner who is 70 and above, and half of those do not have the right successor to step into the business for them. 2 is that in Asia, we see that there's so many strong, profitable businesses which are debt-free and deeply embedded into the industry. Thirdly, we also see that in Asia, relationship is so important. Many of the business owners value the value system of the successor as much as the transaction or the money that transacts. Having said that, I don't think we can deny that there are a lot of challenges within this space. First and foremost, this is of course a culture that values experience, that we value the elders. And what that means is that coming in as an outsider, we need to do so much more to establish our credibility with the sellers and the credibility of the employees as well as with the customers. Number 2 is that M&A is just such a new topic in these parts of the world. So we have met so many SME owners who just tell us, hey, I have never thought about M&A in my entire life. And I think the third one is also a very uniquely Asian idea, right, about retirement. A lot of business owners think about their business as themselves, as their identity. So this idea that, hey, letting someone step into your business is not about exiting the business. It's about transitioning and allowing the next generation to grow the business and to take it forward. With
yourself and Mission K Capital, search funds are still pretty nascent in Asia. So what do you think can be done to grow the search fund and the ETA ecosystem?
education and awareness is just so important, right? Just taking back to the idea of retirement, we need to help business owners recognize that, hey, you groom and grow the child, the business, for the last 15, 20 years, right? At this point, it is the moment about letting your child marry into a new partner and to take the business into the next step, into the next future. Two is that it's about the ecosystem. A lot of, I think, banks and accountants and the professional services around the business are still looking at business owner as the white hair, experienced elder statesman. But today, I think we have so many more younger, I would say younger, but still very much talented and ambitious individual who would love to have the chance to step in and run the business well. I think if we can change the mindset between the ecosystem players as well as the business owners and how they think about the business, I think this will help this idea of a transition, idea about succession, be so much better in the future.
Mm-hmm. So do you think there are more hidden SME gems in Singapore that are just waiting to be uncovered?
Absolutely. We have met so many profitable, debt-free, deeply embedded businesses that will, we believe, with the right ownership, continue the next 50, 100 years in Singapore. And all they need at the moment is to have the right structure, the right business owner to take it into the next phase.
Thank you so much, Aik Chuan, for shedding light on such an insightful topic. I truly believe we're on the cusp of something very exciting.
Thank you, Suhaana.
Thank you.